then you can.
Right. Okay. So, okay. Good afternoon, all of you. So this panel is basically a on very important topic, which is basically impact of COVID-19 on lives of people, and this is second panel. Of course, Professor Shulva Parasuraman is expected to chair this. He was former IIPS professor. However, due to some reasons, she could not join this. Now, in place of that staff cap arrangement, I am here to chair this. And we have our colleague, Professor Mohanty. Professor Mohanty, can you hear me? Hello, Professor Mohanty?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, so he will be the discussant. Once all the papers are presented, then he would be presenting a report of the discussant, and then we can open for if there is any questions. And every participant is supposed to present within 10 to 12 minutes, and then we will take in the end questions from the participants. So I will request now to be ready for the presentation to Utkarsh, Mr. Utkarsh, on impact of COVID-19 lockdown on air quality index of Kolkata city. So Utkarsh, floor is yours,
Yes,
and
sir.
please start your presentation.
Sir, I cannot share the content.
Oh, so I'm sorry
Yes.
that.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, already I had given the rights to Utkarsha.
No, okay. Okay, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, is it visible now?
Yes, it's trying. I think it's like coming. Okay, it takes time. There is some lag is there, so you have patience for the next slide. And I will request you take less time in introduction, and more time on your objective and findings.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Okay. So, good afternoon, everyone. Respected chairperson of this session, a member of this panel, and everyone, audience hearing out me there. This is the paper named as Impact of COVID-19 Lockdown on Air Quality Index of Kolkata City. This paper is co-authored by my guide, Dr. Rajiv Ranjan Shrivastava. So let's move to the next slide, that is introduction. As we all know how perilous the coronavirus things has been, that's still affecting the lives of many people. And this is the figure that is 3 lakhs lives has gone and 4 million confirmed cases. This is all about last year in the mid of May, June, when people were losing their lives and people were being really affected by it. So at that point of time, WHO declared it as pandemic, and subsequently government of India also imposed COVID-19 lockdown. And it was a massive lockdown that no people can take out to road. And there were according to Singh and Chauhan, he says that roads in India were deserted without vehicles except few emergency vehicles. So there was less burning of fossil fuel, and that's why we can see that carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and sulfur dioxides, nitrogen dioxides emissions had reduced, and along with that, particulate matters of size 2.5 and 10 also reduced. So I will discuss everything in this paper, taking example from Kolkata city. So Kolkata is my study area, and the map presented here is the Kolkata Municipal Corporation boundary, from where I have taken 7 of these points. These are air pollution monitoring stations. These stations, along with that, I will discuss about Ravindra Sarovar in detail, but I have calculated air quality index from all of these stations. And I got to know that the SPM and nitrogen dioxide has very much to do with air quality index of Kolkata city. So next comes the data and methods. For data, I have taken variables from Central Pollution Control Board there's a data dissemination portal. And methodology, for methodology purpose, I have used that same in CPCB National Air Quality Standard, and which involves two steps. First is finding out the formulation of index, and the second is aggregation of those index of each pollutant so that we can get overall AQI. So next comes the results. After working out on these formula, you can see my cursor, these formula. This is sub-index representing the relationship between pollution concentration and those corresponding sub-indexes. And this general equation is based on linear segmented principle. And this is aggregation method where weightage of each variable was 1 as suggested by Central Pollution Control Board. And here comes the result of each places: Baliganj, Vidhannagar, Fort William, Jadavpur, Ravindra Bharati University, Victoria, and Ravindra Sarovar. I'll take Ravindra Sarovar later on this slide in detail. At every places you can notice that after February, March, everywhere you can see that either there is a steep or very gentle decline, but you can see that air quality index is fixing in the ribbon of good to satisfactory level, or maybe in a moderate level of air quality. This was the period when the first period of lockdown from 23rd March, when in India all over lockdown was imposed, 21st March to 14th of April. Here also you can see the declining trends of line graph, except on two places. Just to avoid the glitches in calculation, there was missing value on 23rd March and 30th March, and in Ravindra Sarovar 10th of April. So I just took 0 on the place of missing value so that I can calculate the whole overall AQI of this week during the lockdown period. So right to this picture, there is a picture taken from NASA Giovanni website. This is onboard satellite imagery picture from January to February, and this is from March to April, and this is from April to June. You can see the fading up of this color. This is showing that the tropospheric nitrogen dioxide has reduced over everywhere actually, but this is the picture of Kolkata Municipal Corporation area. Next is, as I said that I'll discuss Ravindra Sarovar in detail. So I have taken each variable of Ravindra Sarovar, that is PM 2.5, 10, NO2, this is ammonia, carbon monoxide, ozone, and SO2. So except ozone, every variables are decreasing, but you can see that ozone is showing the different character. This phenomena is that ozone is increasing. This is all because the concentration of nitrogen dioxide has reduced in the environment. So ozone is not able to mix up with nitrogen dioxide to form other on oxygen and nascent oxygen. That's why concentration of ozone is increasing in environment. This is a good sign that nitrogen dioxide is decreasing. That's why ozone is increasing. There is a anti-correlated sort of things. Next comes the correlation. Since I have taken 7 variables, so I started to run this variable on multiple regression. But I couldn't run it as these variables are highly correlated from each other. So I have to take these variables as VIF was coming from more than 10 and 10. So I have to take PCA to just clear the glitches. In this table, these two tables comes from principal component analysis. This total column suggests the eigenvalues. And these are the tables which is showing off of a variance. Here you can see that eigenvalue is 5.9, 1.1, and 0.3. I have extracted 4 variables, 4 component from 7, among which 97% of variance was distributed. So I retained these 4, and after that rotation was done on these 4 components. And on these rotations, these variance got redistributed, and there comes a score. These four scores are correlations. This comes in the next table, that is component matrix. These component matrix are basically the correlations between component and the variables. Next comes the slides of regression. After getting scores from PCA, I use those scores as the new variable for running regression analysis. Those scores were my new variables. So after getting those scores, I get this coefficient as 84%, 25%, and 30%, 26%, you can say. So R square was 98%, and the next coefficient I got it, and those coefficients were from PM2, SPM 2.5, SPM 10, and nitrogen dioxide. The contribution of ammonia was very less, around 0.6%, and it is also, this result is also insignificant. Other than that, these three results are significant. So I can say that in changing the air quality index, SPM and nitrogen dioxide, SPM 2.5 and 10 together, and nitrogen dioxide has to do with it. And next comes the slide of conclusion, where I can say that air quality, we get the air quality on real-time basis, but this paper has to do with the method of calculation, which I have discussed in detail. And along with that, I have taken spatial and temporal analysis using the pictures from NASA's onboard satellite imagery system. And nitrogen dioxide concentrations, I focus basically on that from burning of fossil fuel, how nitrogen dioxide concentration has been observed to reduced during lockdown period. And along with that, factorization helps me to find about the premier variable which were contributing to changing the AQI on a very higher degree, and where the contribution of ammonia was very less and other variables got discarded. So we can say that COVID-19 lockdown was a kind of a relief to nature, Mother Nature, and environment was showing its resilience when people were actually locked in their homes. Thank you.
Thank you, Utkarsh sir. You have done your presentation well in time. Now, without any delay, we request the next presenter to please, come and then upload your presentation.
Okay, sir.
This is basically Margubar Rahman. Mr. Rahman, can you hear me?
Sir,
Okay, so please
Yes,
now
sir.
upload your presentation, and the floor yours for, and you take please 10 to 12 minutes.
Sir,
Hello,
Yes, yes.
just minimize this browser. Okay, right now it's okay. Just make power show, slide show.
Sir, is it visible, sir? No?
Yeah, it's visible,
Yes,
but
yes,
just
it is
you should.
visible. Make it slideshow,
Oh.
slideshow.
Okay. Slides. So good afternoon, all the panelists and presenter, all the participants. And first, I want to say that thank for the IPS organizing committee to add such a significant discussion session in this seminar to talk about the impact of COVID-19 on the lives of the people. Now I'm presenting my paper entitled The Status of Shortage and Economic Crisis Among Household Workers During the COVID-19 Lockdown, cross-sectional study in northern part of the Murshidabad district, West Bengal. So first, the definition of the household workers. As per definition of Census of India 1991, a person who is engaged in production, servicing, repairing, or making and selling of the articles or goods such as handloom, weaving, dyeing, carpentry, factory, bead rolling, pottery manufacturing, cycle repairing, blacksmiths, and tailoring, etc. In an unit which is conducted by the head of the household himself, herself, and by a member of household at the home within the village in the rural areas, and only within the boundary of home in case of urban areas is called the workers in household industry. Next, the COVID-19 crisis creates the socio-economic and health disaster globally. India's government declared the nationwide lockdown from 24th March and continue almost 4 months up to unlock 1 to the chain of COVID-19 virus. The lockdown positively break down the rapid increase of COVID-19 cases, but negatively affected people, economy, and employment status, especially informal sector workers and migrants. Among informal sector workers, industry workers also lost their job due to the socio-economic activities restriction during the COVID-19 lockdown. The household industry workers generally belong from the poor, agricultural, landless family and socio-economically disadvantaged community, and the livelihood challenge might be very serious among them during the lockdown. The retail finance crisis during lockdown has common among the informal sector workers because their daily wage and saving was very low and daily consumption based on daily income. Therefore, previous study aimed to explain the socio-economic opportunities of the household industry worker, the law in Mumbai. This is study area. The Murshidabad district under the West Bengal state in India. Above district is one of the socio-economical backward district of West Bengal and areas of household industry workers homeland according to Census 2011. It is northernmost district under Presidency Division of the West Bengal, which is geographically lying between 23° 32' north to 24° 52' north and 87° 49' east to 88° 44' east. The total extent of the district is 5,324 km square. This table shows the basic socio-demographic characteristics of the Murshidabad district. Muslim minority 66.3% are inhabitant of these districts, and the literacy rate is below the national average, and 18% people are engaged in household industry worker in these districts, and majority of household industry workers are engaged with the bead loading and hand loading. Rationale of the study: the percentage of household industry worker in northern part of the Murshidabad district is very high due to low per capita agriculture land, high environment vulnerabilities on agriculture sectors such as flood, bank erosion due to the presence of Ganges river, and high concentration of the bead industry and give the opportunity to engage with the bead industries, household industries. This part of the district is home of nearly 700,000 population industry workers, mainly bead rolling. The workers are mostly women, poor, belong to the Muslim scheduled caste communities. The majority of the workers become jobless, depends on government and on governmental aid during the lockdown in Murshidabad, Hindustan Time 2020. The previous studies mainly highlighted only the bead workers' socioeconomic characteristic, child labor, and bead industry, bead workers' livelihood, but no previous studies has focused on the household industrial worker basic issues during the lockdown period in Murshidabad. So there is need to display the primary challenges and opportunities of the household work. Objective of the study: to show the occupational profile of the study area, to show the socio-economic characteristic of the household industry worker, and to display the quality of living environment of the household industry worker, and finally to examine the challenges and opportunities of the household workers during the COVID-19 lockdown. Data methodology: this paper used primary and secondary both of data since 2011. So the occupational profile primary search conducted in month 2022, the challenges and opportunities of the household workers during the lockdown. The study selected Sutak in Mumbai as a field study area. Of the study block is based on a higher percentage of the household industry worker in this block compared to other blocks. The COVID-19 protocol has maintained during the survey a structured questionnaire has used to interview and will use the non-probability sample, identify the household workers and collect the information from them. We interview a total 180 respondents, but after excluding the under-report, final sample size. Uniform behavioral techniques simply used to accomplish study objective. This is the result part. The occupational pattern of the study area. The household industry workers was 36, 63% and 80% in Shruti 1, Shruti 2 and Murshidabad district respectively. The majority of the household industry worker are female, more than 80%. A significant number of the male population also engage with the household industry worker in Shruti 2 blocks. The percentage of household industry workers was comparatively higher than other workers in the study area. This table shows the 35% in the Shruti 1 total household industry worker and Shruti 2 62% and total 18% in Murshidabad district. And majority of the women both in Shruti 1 and Shruti 2 blocks, the females are engaged with the household industry worker. In Shruti 1 80% and in Shruti 2 it is 90%. Social demographic profile of the household industry workers. More than 70% of the household industry workers are 25 age and above, and percent of the respondents are age older. The power of it is 3 times higher, and most of the workers are married. Literacy and education has been workers, most 1/5 of them illiterate. Household work Muslim followed by Hindus. Industries are general caste and but significant number of under the other price recently found also industry works. The average monthly income is very low. On 15% was 6,000 or above per month during the pre-lockdown period. Majority of household industry was rolling, followed by the others household worker and hand workers. This is the socio-economic and demographic profile of the study population and how is the industry workers. The housing condition of the house industry workers is house workers are residing in the Kacha house, almost 27, 21 and 16% of the others household workers, handloom workers and workers respectively living in the Kacha house. The average sleeping room density is found among the 80% respondent. A significant number of handloom workers use unimproved drinking water, 14.3%. Again, unimproved sanitation facilities were found high among the handloom workers, 43%. The majority of the household industry workers, 60%, were using unclean cooking fuel and significantly high among the bidi rolling workers, 61%. This is the table of the housing profile and monthly income of the household industry workers. The figure 2 shows the monthly income of the household industry worker is very insufficient. The majority of the bidi workers' monthly earning is less than 3,000 rupees per month. The monthly earning is comparatively better than loom and other household industry workers. Challenge and opportunities of the household workers in the COVID-19 lockdown. The majority of the household industry workers were lost their job during the lockdown. Only 38% of the household industry workers are working in the bidi and others respectively during the lockdown. The food scarcity was moderate. Most respondents did not face severe food scarcity during the lockdown. However, some respondents faced the food scarcity seriously during lockdown. It's less than 10%. Financial crisis is the major problem during the COVID-19 lockdown because of the job loss during the lockdown. Only 1/10 of the respondents did not face a financial crisis during the lockdown in the study area. This is the table type of household workers and not working during the COVID-19 and table 4 the state of the food scarcity and financial crisis by type of the household worker in the study area during COVID-19 lockdown. Status of the relief during COVID-19 crisis. Relief from working organization to household workers was not satisfactory. Expect the bidi workers. Table 5 also shows that the almost 78% of the BD worker receive aid from working organization or BD company. The relief received by the handloom and other household workers from their organization is negligible. Status of the government scheme received by the household workers during the COVID-19 crisis. Figure 3 shows and displays the majority of the respondents did not get the PM relief scheme during the COVID lockdown. Only 30%, 7%, 9 of the BD, handloom, and other household industrial workers respectively have get relief under the PM Jan Yojana. The free cooking gas facilities under PM Ujjwala Yojana has reached by a negligible number of the household workers, less than 15%, expect the BD worker 30%. The significant number of household industry workers benefited from CM ration relief during the COVID-19 crisis. Household industry worker perception about COVID-19 life. The table 6 shows that the effect of COVID-19 lockdown was negatively associated with the household industry workers' quality of life. Most of the household industry workers responded that daily food intake capacity, quality of food, monthly employment opportunities has reduced. The majority respondent, 80%, said that livelihood vulnerabilities has increased due to the COVID-19 crisis. Major finding of high concentration of the household industry work found in northern part of Murshidabad district, India. The household industries workers are mainly female, less educated, and belong from the Muslim communities, and mainly working as biri rolling workers. The monthly earning is very small, quality of living is poor to moderate. The most of them lost their job due to the COVID-19 crisis. The ration crisis is faced by a small portion of them, but financial crisis is displayed severely. The relief from working organization to household industry organizations has not satisfactorily expect the big companies. Vulnerability is higher among the handloom workers during the COVID-19 lockdown. The benefits of PM relief scheme has poorly covered household industrial workers household, but CM ration relief significantly reduced the risk of food shortage of the household industrial workers during the COVID-19 lockdown. Conclusion and the socio-economic and living condition of the household industry is very worse and COVID-19 lockdown. The government support is not sufficient. The government should take a particular policy for the household industrial workers to upgrade the socio-economically them. Microfinance scheme with low interest and easy access of the National Bank for Agricultural Development NABARD will help to establish their industry. A active the SIDCO, Small Industrial Development Corporation, also need to improve their skill and capability and marketing of the household production after lockdown. The study also suggested that they need to create data for household industrial worker with their socioeconomic background and type of work to formulate suitable scheme and policies and technological training course for them. The government should have made an emergency fund to provide the basic amenities for the socioeconomically poor communities during the emergency period. And finally, we can't build the Atmanirbhar Bharat without the real development of the household industry and household industrial workers' socioeconomic development. This is my thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Rahman. Now, please take off your presentation and stop sharing so that we can ask the next
Okay.
presenter. Thank you. We will come back to you. Okay. So, Avinash, next presenter, you will be presenting or
No, sir, I am presenting from my side and he will just speak. Okay.
Okay, fine. So, this is the Hamid, Shamikha Hamid, right? Who is presenting this? Yes, yes.
sir.
Is
I'm
it?
presenting Shamika.
Am I pronouncing your name correctly, Samika Hamid?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is Shamika Hamid. You are pronouncing it
Okay,
correctly.
Shamika Hamid. So now please use floor is yours, and you have 10 to 12 minutes. Okay. And
Okay,
don't take much time on introduction, please. Let us go to
okay,
your objectives and findings and your inference. Okay. Thank you.
okay, sir. Good evening, everyone. I'm Shamika Hamid. I'm pursuing PhD from the Department of Social Work, University of Kashmir, and I'm presenting paper on the lived experiences of empty nest elderly in Kashmir. COVID-19 and the associated lockdown to contain the virus has posed unprecedented challenges to all the sectors of population
Oh,
within the demographic
Samika, can you
profile.
be little louder, please? Keep your mic closer to your mouth.
Okay, sir. COVID-19 and the associated lockdown to contain the virus has posed unprecedented challenges to all the sectors of population. Within the demographic profile, it has been extra grueling for some people with multiple vulnerabilities. Among such people is the elderly population. With the advancement in age, the elderly people need support and care because they become less independent and insufficient of supporting their day-to-day functions and needs. Within the elderly population, COVID-19 has been extremely tough on those elderly who are empty nesters, have nobody to look around and after. Coming to the methodology part of our study, the aim of our study was to explore the lived experiences of empty nest elderly during COVID-19 pandemic in Kashmir. We have used a qualitative research approach for our study, and we have chosen 3 districts, that is district Srinagar, Anantnag and Pulwama, as the universe of our study. We included both men and women empty nesters in our study who were the permanent residents of Kashmir. We have used purposive sampling technique to recruit and enlist the participants who met our inclusion criteria. Coming to the sampling size, a total of 20 number of participants were interviewed for the study. Data saturation of qualitative study was used and interviews were conducted with the participants until no new information was observed in the data. Reliable similar data appeared after 18 interviews were completed. To ensure that no information is left out, 2 more participants were recruited and interviewed. Coming to the data collection method, we have semi-structured in-depth interviews were conducted with the participants. Keeping in consideration the physical distancing rules and other SOPs, both telephonic and face-to-face interviews were conducted. Now the data analysis method. The data collected was transcribed and then analyzed using Colizzi's method of content analysis. Both face-to-face and telephonic interviews were recorded with proper permission and consent by the participants. The recorded data was transcribed and then the steps of the Colizzi's methods like familiarization, identification of significant statements, formulating meanings, clustering themes, development of extensive description, production of fundamental structures, etc. were followed to identify the themes. Now the findings. 2 main themes emerged from our study, which are the challenges encountered by these elderly people and the coping mechanisms which they used. As far as the first theme, the challenges encountered by these people was concerned, it has many themes, many sub-themes which include incomprehensible information about the virus, multiplicity of health issues, anxiety and fear, social isolation, confinement within their houses, limitation to access the daily use products, limitation to access pension monetary services, and inability to switch to digital socialization platforms. And as far as the coping mechanisms are concerned, it includes engagement in daily household chores, reliance or religion, and optimistic approach to pass this time too. Now, first sub-theme, that is incomprehensible information. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the elderly were confusing about the pandemic, its origin, its contagion, and the spread. The information which they received from their television sets or radio seemed to be complex for them. Rumors added to their confusions. This is the narrative which one of our participants shared with us. Now, anxiety and fear. All the participants expressed anxiety and fear about the effects of virus. These people have been extremely fearful of the infection as they had heard that most of the deaths occur in this age group only. Now, the limitation to access pension and other monetary services. One of the most challenging problems faced by these people was that they were not able to access banks for getting their pensions and other monetary services properly, as their health condition and age made it difficult for them to reach to the banks in absence of public transport. And all these people depended on public transport for their mobility. Now, inability to switch to digital socialization platforms after pandemic, whether it was banking services or medical consultation, everything was shifted to online platforms. The participants asserted that they were not able to switch to to these virtual platforms. Most of these had not smartphones, or even if they possessed it, they were unable to use it for the said services. They had no one who would teach them these virtual things. And now the in coping mechanisms, first sub theme is engagement in daily household chores. Most of these elderly found engagement in daily chores to be one of the most effective ways to cope with COVID-19 and the associated problems. And now is the social support from the neighbors. It was found that in our study that the support system provided by to the elderly by neighbors played an important part in the time of COVID. Neighbors provided every possible help to these people. These are the narratives shared by our participants. Now, the conclusion. COVID-19 has indeed posed unprecedented challenges to the empty nest elderly population in Kashmir. We identified that it has affected empty nest elderly in complex ways, causing problems in their family as well as their personal lives. It has been identified that the neighborhood and the community proved a major support system to these people. Thank you. Any comments, sir? Am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are audible.
You are audible, yes. So
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah, Dr. Pradeep, are you ready with your presentation?
Yes, I am ready.
Okay, so please now it's all yours.
Yeah.
Start your
Okay.
presentation.
Okay. Is my PPT visible?
Yes, it is visible.
Yeah.
Only you have to make it slideshow.
Yeah, yeah, it is shown now.
Okay.
Is it fine?
Yes, it's fine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Respected chairperson, discussant, rapporteur, and my fellow paper presenters. Today I'm going to present one of our papers titled Disparity in Accessing Online Education During the COVID-19 Pandemic. This work is the collaborative work of myself and Professor Laisram Laddu Singh, and it is carried out at the Border University, Assam. COVID-19, it affected everyone. Of course, all of us are aware about that. And this effect is, of course, at a different magnitude, different level, and with different intensity. Some of them have been severely affected, whereas others have been affected in slightly with lower magnitude or scale. And in that process, or because of this pandemic, teaching learning were gradually affected. And we are aware that classes were suspended since the first week of March 2020. And complete lockdown was declared somewhere towards the end of March. And no classes were there. Even educational institutions were related to quarantine center for which classes were not held. And because of this situation, since there were no classes and hostels were closed down, the educational institutions completely locked down, so students were quite worried about the their loss, and teachers were also worried about completing syllabus, and we were not sure about what is going to happen. And on the other side, administration was stressed to promote the students and adjust the academic calendar because uh, since now we have semester system of education, any deviation from the timeline actually pushes the other semester to means there is problem in adjusting the time. And this situation actually, because of this pandemic or lockdown, we were forced to shift to online mode. But we were not very sure about whether it is possible to have the online mode of class or not. So we try to assess possibility of conducting online classes in Bodoland University. And of course, before I proceed, I would like to just say that this university is located in a very remote area of Assam. And also most of the students come from rural remote area. And because of that, we were very much apprehensive whether we will be able to have this online mode of education. And of course, still now the resumption of regular classes is very patchy. Some of the places, I think even IIPS has not completely turned on to regular mode of education. So we try to assess the end of the that we try to assess the difficulty in accessing online education during the COVID-19 pandemic and find out the possibility of conducting classes through digital mode and difficulties associated with it. And all of us are aware that for online teaching and learning, basic requirements are like devices, smartphone, laptop or desktop, internet, electricity. Of course, these are the basic requirements.
Dr. Pradeep, can you please, start your presentation? I mean, it's not moving your slide. Is there any technical issue or you are still on introduction?
Okay. But am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible, but your slide, your slides are not moving. You are audible.
Oh, it is moving in my screen.
Oh, I don't know about others.
There is some text.
Yeah, there's some. Avinash, please. Can you
Yes,
take care of
yes, sir. Just reshare the slide. I will just close that one and make reshare the slide, please.
Now?
Yeah, you are audible, sir. You just share the slide.
Yeah. Yeah. Server was saying it's not moving. My screen.
You have to reshare it again.
Okay. A second. Yeah,
yes.
Starting from here. Yeah, for online teaching and learning, of course, the basic requirements we know that it is some devices like smartphone, laptop, or desktop, then internet connectivity, electricity. But however, for comfortable online classes, along with good or good desktop or laptop. We need actually it should be laptop or desktop with the internet connectivity, uninterrupted
Avinash,
power supply,
can
and
you see the
also convenient
slides?
space.
Uh,
Right, now it's coming.
Okay. So convenience space, conducive environment. Uh, so the methodology of this study was we tried to collect the data from Borderland University PG students through online survey and also observation. And we received via WhatsApp or email, and also some of them were followed up with the mobile calls. And we covered all the 16 departments existing in the university, and we conducted this online survey in May 2020. And also we collected some data from the university teachers through informal discussions, observation, and also from national level online teaching learning, which was conducted at Borderland University. And of course, we have used some basic statistics. How many respondents responded to our Google form? It is about 500 students responded to us, and it is somewhere very close to 1/3 of the total students in the university. And mostly they were in the age group 22, 23, with 22.6 years and standard deviation of 1. Then mostly the respondents were females and basically from second year. And if we see that the students mostly belong to Hindu religion, and more than half of them are tribe students, then it since trying to promote the disparity in accessing online education, smartphone is one of the most important requirement. We found that everyone has it, except students. So smartphone is not an issue. You can see here also. And along with that, we also try to see how many of them have a computer or desktop at home. About 49% of them have either desktop or laptop. But when we look at by the social group, this computer or the computing device, SCs, they have the lowest percentage of students having the device. And if we look at by religion, Hindus mostly they have the desktop. Then second year students, older students, and female students, they have a slightly better in terms of having the owning the laptop or desktop. And also when we look at by the parents' education and occupation, we find that the students whose parents are educated and in government service, they mostly possess a desktop and laptop or laptop. Then if we see the regression analysis by this, we find that male students are less likely to possess a desktop or laptop, but the second year students are quite likely to possess this computing device. Whereas if we see the Muslim students, they are very likely to have a computing device. And other statistically not significant. So male, second year, and Muslim, these are the significant variables in this analysis. And of course, how many has internet connection? Of course, everyone has, because now we know that the mobile data has become slightly cheaper, so everyone is having this internet connectivity. But problem is with the strength of connection. What is the strength of connection, and what about the electricity? We try to see that only about 22% of them said that internet connection in their area is good, whereas about 1/4 have said that it is poor. And electricity supply also, only about 1/4 have said it is good, whereas about 1/5 say it is poor. And of course, that
Reshmi, can you hear? I'm not able to hear. What is the Reshmi? क्या रह गया था क्या sign? उसका सर subject change नहीं।
Hello.
Avinash,
Hi,
hello.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now it is not coming. Is it disconnected or what?
Actually, his network was quite bandwidth
Okay.
was quite low, and suddenly he disappears from the maybe the
Okay.
computer was maybe due to poor connection he might be out.
Okay.
I think.
Fine, it's fine. Okay, let's just wait. Maybe he is concluding, or ask him on mobile that he can conclude now, because
Really?
without any presentation. Avinash, can you please contact, or Rashmi, can you contact with Pradeep?
Yes, sir. Yes, I'll call him.
Please contact, and we can start by the time, questions and all this.
Okay.
I request all the participants as well as other presenters, they can post their questions in the chat box.
Sir? Hello,
Yes.
sir. Sir, he
Yeah.
says please continue with other presentations. He will join.
Okay, fine, no problem. So now we have at least we have an idea what is all presentation all about, and they are very interesting presentations. All of them are very good, starting from Kolkata and as well as Murshidabad and Kashmir, and this one from his university, really from. So now we have some idea, fair idea. I will request Professor Mohanty to give the remarks from the discussion side, how they can improve their manuscript, or their, if they want to publish, or any methodological issue if you would like to highlight, so that it can help to the authors which are presenting the papers. Professor Mohanty, can you please?
Yeah. Okay, thank you. I think it is a nice presentation by all the presenter. So at the outset, I thank all of them for this, presenting in time and very context specific presentation. So I have some observations on each of these presentation. So let me first go on the same order. So as you present, so this is regarding this air quality in Kolkata city. So it's an interesting work. So you have taken this the time period and a smaller geographical location is effective, is good, but there are studies at at pan India level and also at globally, so which has brought out those issues. But one thing more specific to this is how I just wanted to know how complete is your AQI for Calcutta, or I mean that I so to my knowledge it might or might not be covering the entire urban unit or settlement of the city. The second question is, yes, so it is good that this is one of the external effect of COVID-19. So we can say positive externality in that sense because air quality has improved. But then how does it really what are its implications in totality, or how does it so can it was basically because of reduced economic activities, and your following paper says how people suffer, and we have seen not only in India, both in globally. So it is one of the worst economic crisis the civilization has seen maybe after 1930s or similar to 1930s. So in this context, so it is that might have resulted in the improvement of air quality, but it is at the cost of human life, at the cost of economic activities, and which possibly is not a long run feasible solution. So then what would you suggest in that context? Maybe possibly you need to put that what implications it leads in terms of both improving the air quality without affecting the economic activities. So that is what it is, not only in Calcutta, even in Delhi, which is one of the most polluted city. So it is also their air quality has improved a lot. That is true, but then so whether it is, but how does it link to that? So that maybe focus when you try to, because the issue is when you go for the next stage of the of this. So because you have done a lot of work, you might be interested to make it some kind of a publications. So those issues will come. So it is yes. So during lockdown, because reduced activities, so this age has been, air quality has improved. So this is a known fact. So even without doing research also maybe talk about, but how does really know how to sustain that air quality, but then without affecting this economic activity. So that is a issue that need to be put forward. Now the second paper by Rahman, which is talking about the household BD worker and other workers economic situation during a pandemic. So it's an illustration. It is not only a link to Murshidabad, or it links to everywhere in the country, as we have seen. So how it is largely affected the employment livelihood of the poorer section of the population. So this is possibly the poverty has increased by many fold during the COVID pandemic. So people are so the real living with much of the difficulties even post lockdown. Also possibly the richer and better off, they got accommodated, but the poor still a large proportion of poor people are still they remains in the poverty. They become more poorer or even in the poverty trap. But one thing I noticed is, so your I mean it will always be questionable, because the sample, the way you have selected the samples, the scientific basis of selection of your samples need to be very much elaborative. And then so though you have given the rationale, this is Murshidabad and all Muslim majority a community, BD workers and all those, but then putting a generalization, so need more of a scientific specifications. And what I understood is you need to improve little more in top your analytical structure. So maybe in terms of some composite indices, or maybe in terms of certain kind of a multivariate analysis. So which is maybe you can so that you can do this. And one thing possibly you need to definitely improve is your way of presentation. So in a scientific conference, so it is you not to present this like you just copy from your Word document and paste it and show on the slides. So it should be so PowerPoint basic rules need to be followed. So it should be audience should be it should be interest to the others so that they can know, because when you speak something and your writing shows something else, there is no figure and you talk about the figure. So these kind of things you need to improve in your further work. So the paper on Kashmir is really a good one. So this shows that how with a qualitative approach which they have authors have adopted. So but brought out the many critical issues. So particularly in the context of COVID pandemic and elderly, their livelihood, their concern from anxiety, from health, from their receiving pension, and those deep-rooted issues. So and this the presentation was also lucid. I know the way it was presented is really is good. But then what you need to do is maybe you need to little more context specific issues. What is emerging out of this? So maybe need to put forward, and you have to give a synthesis of review what has been done in this regard and why this a qualitative approach, because that brought out. So is that is what I can reason. And the last presentation by Dr. Pradeep, I could not because he got disconnected. But what I guess from his presentation is he was trying to say that how online education has further increased the disparity across for education. We know that yes. So maybe as much as of employment, this is COVID has largely affected the educational attainment of children, and particularly because there is the online teaching is definitely not a substitute for offline teaching. Because and with this young mind they have all their it is difficult to put for that. So this is not only the technological challenge, the challenge of electricity power, as he has also experienced during the presentation, and all those issues are really manifold. So that is there. But then more to that is what can be done or what should be done, maybe highlighted. I think overall all these presentations are good and they have the potential to take it to the next stage. But I'm sure that cannot go as it is, but they need to work more to make it a scientific contribution. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you. It is over to you, Professor Chandrasekhar.
Okay, thank you, very lucidly presenting all the summary and suggestions to them. Dr. Pradeep, you would like to say something in the end, concluding remarks. Now you are on the screen. Oh, unmute, please, unmute yourself. Yes.
Now am I audible? Yeah.
Yes.
Actually,
yes.
I'm very sorry because of this technological problem. I could not completely. Yeah. So actually, what we were trying to say was that with this, with the help of this paper, what we tried to say was that in these remote areas of Northeast, especially, and also maybe in other places, the online mode is really not practical solution to whatever we faced during the pandemic or in that kind of situation, emergency situation. But of course, what we see is that definitely the flipped mode of education is possible. It means that providing students with different kinds of digital study materials and all is quite possible. But of course, as the discussion has already said, this online mode of teaching is definitely not a solution. What can be the solution? That it is that at the most we can shift to, or we can just substitute this instead of complete the leg of classes, we can go for like some kind of adjustment. Maybe provide this video recorded study material, other printed study material, that kind of thing can slightly substitute But at the same time, this will definitely increase the disparity in accessing them education, higher education. Thank you, sir, for giving this opportunity to speak something.
Thank you.
Over to you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. And now I will move to participants. Please, if you have any concern, queries, questions, please, so that it can help to, authors, please raise your questions. Anyone, we are here, 15 participants. So, okay. No one is interested. Okay. Then we can close the session. Rashmi, if there is no questions or no.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
If there is no.
Okay. Somebody is asking.
Okay, sir.
Can I
Yeah,
ask one question?
Please identify yourself. This Philip again. Okay.
Yeah, this is probably, yeah. Actually, I was listening to this Utkarsha's presentation very minutely. Then I saw one thing somewhere in this where data is missing. She has said that she put it as 0 instead of missing. So I don't know the logic behind of putting it in as 0. I don't know if she can explain. Otherwise, the best way to overcome this missing value, I think would have been much better if you put something of average. I don't know if you have the justification for putting this as 0. Yeah, over to you, sir.
Okay,
So,
Utkarsha. Yeah. Can you give reply to this, Utkarsha? Can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Actually, I put 0 because all those lines were getting distorted when I was putting average, because that were coming into the line of that graph. So I have to show that there was missing value. I was supposed to show that there was a missing value, and that's why I didn't put that average value, because after putting the average value, I was getting that particular value in the line of graph.
Okay. But
Because,
I mean,
okay.
generally suggestion what Dr. Philip is giving, general, practices are that, because 0 means you are trying to, be little biased into that. You are trying to be biased. So either you put an
Okay, sir. I'll take care of it. I'll take care
if it is not an average of all area, you can take average of nearby area, the closer area. Is it?
Okay,
I think
sir, okay. I'll take care of it.
I think it's better to not to take whole area, but the nearby areas average. Okay.
2 points.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So, any other questions or clarifications? We still have time, but since there is no questions, we say good luck to all the presenters who have presented, well, and also, now they may improve after these presentations. And I thank to discussant as well as Dr. Reshmi and others, and all the participants who have patiently, listened all the presentations. Thank you very much. Reshmi, last word.
Yeah, sir. On behalf of IAPS Seminar Organizing Committee, I thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation as a chairperson, and Mohanty sir as a discussant, Miss Megha as a rapporteur, and all the presenters and participants. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
It's closed.